Welcome back to Y&R For Life, where we talk about all things Y&R related, from what's going on, my predictions. We even talk about fashion on the show because I'm a big time fashion girl, so we got to spill the tea about that. If you are new to this channel, my question is, what took you so long to get here? And if you are returning, what's up? Long time no see. So, you know what? So much has gone on. I figured, let me do this in all one fell swoop. So I didn't do a video earlier in the week because everything was too juicy. It was like a fresh burger that just came off the grill. It was so juicy. And you know what? I'm wearing the purple blanket because it was just that. It was like glued to the TV, just every episode, and I just was like taking it all in. So we're gonna relax. We're kind of gonna get into it. There was really a lot went on. So again, if I have to refer to my notes, please bear with me. I just kind of don't want to miss a single thing. But if I do, once again, it's the nature of the beast. Anything can happen. And maybe it wasn't newsworthy. Maybe I just plumb forgot. But we're just going to talk about, the different characters and what kind of happened and just kind of give you like a briefing because, it was juicy. My usual disclaimer, if you don't want to know what's going on, you kind of want to get caught up on your own, this might not be what you want to see or hear, but I am so grateful that you are here. So, we're going to talk about who I call Laurel and Hardy. That would be Ashley and Tucker. I mean, those guys are hysterical. Let me backtrack a bit. Jack and Diane, again, was she wearing black? Does anybody know? I mean, I was looking at the screen. It was either black or it was not the deepest navy blue known to man, but the deepest brown known to man. Like, I didn't get it. She looked okay. It was just, I need to have like a petition. Give Diane bright colors. Put her in some summer colors. Something. Anyway, I digress. So Jack and Diane are at Neil's Jazz Lounge. They're having, like the time of their life. They're dancing and then they decide to go off and, have a drink at I'm assuming it's a bar. I don't know. I can't quite tell. But Laurel and Hardy end up walking in, aka Tucker and Ashley. They're hysterical. And they come and Jack and Ashley see one another and it's like, oh God, like our perfect night is over. So anyway, they come in and the four of them end up at the bar and they're having, drinks with some expensive champagne, if you will. And Ashley and Diane are taking jabs at one another back and forth, which was actually quite hysterical. At one point, Jack's like, can we just get along? Like, and they both say simultaneously, she started it. Oh, the jokes. And there's Tucker just kind of standing there like, okay. So Diane says something, I can't quite remember what it was, but she says something towards Tucker. And Tucker's like, are you going to let her talk to me like that? To Ashley. And Ashley's like, well, she wasn't actually talking to you. She was talking about you. And you know what? No, I'm not going to stand for this. So she ends up she's getting ready to throw whatever champagne, wine, whatever it was on Diane. But they break apart and nothing happens. Well, I had to laugh because in walks Abby. She comes down the jazz lounge stairs, if you will, and she just looks and says, "What fresh hell is this?" Oh, I thought I was the only one that used that term. She's like, "Dear God, what fresh hell is this?" Because the four of them are going at it. Again, I don't know why. Yes, Jack defends Diane, but like he doesn't really defend her. Like how Tucker had told Jack the last time about, yeah, if you like mess with Ashley, you're messing with me, and basically you don't want that thunder. Like that's how you defend her. But Jack's like, can we just like get along and have one night where we're not like, ripping one another's heads off and la da da. But again, that's smiling Jack for you. He just kind of doesn't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't even think he wants to step on Victor's toes half the time anymore. Gone were the days where, back in the day when he threw the chair out the window and, stepped over Victor when he had like heart attack. You know, he's just a softie. Anyway, so they go about their business, and not before Tucker grabs the bottle of champagne, like basically like, I paid for this. This is going with me. So yeah, not much to say about the foursome there, Jack, Diane, Tucker, and Ashley, because they're just gonna be at loggerheads for a long time coming. But it is fun to watch. Okay, we had some scene fillers. That would be with Billy and Chelsea and Connor. Connor, who's got like the biggest chip on his shoulders, and Chelsea, who in my head like is being way too cordial with that child. I'm not saying she's got to be like a battle axe, but I'm just saying like, oh, Connor, he won't come out of his room for anything, Like, who's the parent here? But anyway, so Billy's like, I'm going to talk to him if that's okay with you. She's like, I don't know how well that's going to fare for you, but okay. So off Billy goes, and he goes up to speak with Connor. Well, that didn't go over so well, as I suspected. So eventually, Billy and Chelsea, because they're at Crimson Lights on the patio having a conversation, and again, whatever they were talking about, how to help Connor, and maybe there was some girl he's interested in, and maybe, and she's like, well, Connor would tell me anything. Newsflash, Chelsea, not everything. So anyway, whatever they were talking about, pan over that Connor is kind of standing with his, did he have his hand on his hip? I think he had his hand on his hip and like one foot towards the door, and just like, that kind of look like, you're talking about me, aren't you? Aren't you? Just try me. And Chelsea, of course, deer in headlights, like, oh my gosh, I've been caught talking about my son. So he comes in. Again, this was complete scene filler. I don't even know why I'm talking about it, but it was part of, the whole week. And Connor's like, yeah, basically, I'm sorry. Billy, I wasn't kind to you. I haven't been kind to Johnny. And, Mom, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's okay, Connor, And then they're like, well, we're going to try and get you some help. And he's like, absolutely not. No, ma'am. And I'm like, oh, how old are you, Connor? righto. Yeah, wouldn't happen in my day. But anyway, like in my day, you're going, you're going. Simple as that. Yeah, it is what it is. So again, let's kind of go over that. Let's gloss over another scene filler, really, with Daniel and Lily, where Daniel is still on this whole moral dilemma type mentality. Uh, he's kind of losing me. He's losing a little bit of the finesse, if you ask me. Um, Lily, of course, is trying to be there for him. Once again, are they dating? I don't know. Does anybody know? But they keep meeting up. 'Tis what it is. So he basically says to Lily that he feels as though he's going to end up seeing both his mother and his sister behind bars. Well, I don't know what to say, but I kind of feel like that's where it could end up. Possibly. Summer, once again, is Phyllis 2.0. I don't know how many times I could say this. Like, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And if Phyllis is in hiding and Summer is, like, pretty much lying profusely, like, she has incriminated herself so badly. I don't know. So let's talk about Kyle. Kyle, you better watch yourself. I can kind of see where things might be headed. Woo-wee. Anyway, so Kyle, he's clearly not over the betrayal from Summer. Granted, rightfully so, I get it. I don't think you can like turn off how poorly you feel that your wife has been lying through her teeth for, again, Soapland, months. And yeah, I would feel a ways as well. So he ends up at where did he end up? Was it Neil's Jazz Lounge? I think so. He ends up at Neil's Jazz Lounge, and he's there thinking back to basically all the lies. In comes Audra Charles, who she just seems to be at the right place at the right time all the time. Like she's popping up all over the place. And so she's talking to Kyle, and it was like, oh, it's weird that, your mother-in-law, she was allegedly dead, but she's not dead, and that's weird. And, he's like kind of giving her just little tidbits. And to the point where he ends up saying to her, I really am not in the habit of discussing like sensitive or personal information with people I really don't know. And she's like, okay. But then she's like, well, that's why people will talk to bartenders and, stuff like that, because, they say what's on their mind. It kind of stays there. So she's like, I'm a really good listener. So you could kind of tell there was a little bit of a twinkling of the eye, if you will, from Kyle towards Audra. And this is where I go, Kyle, be very, very careful. Very, very careful. Because you don't want to end up mixing up with Audra, because he was like, you were with my, my brother-in-law. And she's like, oh, right. Yeah, so, Noah, that was the past, and he's living his good life with Allie kind of thing. And I'm happy for him and whatnot. But Kyle, be very careful about Audra because she is out for Audra. And to me, she will drop it like it's hot for anybody who passes by her way to get to where she needs to be, or where she wants to be, more specifically. I was shocked that I didn't see Summer walk in on that, but Summer again was off doing her own thing. And she got to the point where Summer was talking to Mariah at the coffee house and was basically asking Mariah for a favor. Mariah's like, wait a minute, hold up, Snowflake. You're asking me for a favor? So then it was like, oh, right. So basically you want me to kind of talk to Kyle to have him forgive you? Yeah, no can do. Not going to happen. You're out of your cotton picking mind. Not possible. And of course, Summer is kind of looking there like, you won't help me? That kind of look. How should I put this? No. I can't blame her. She's like, but you officiated our wedding and you seem like, you were happy for us. And well, yeah, okay, that's great. But are you forgetting that you've lied profusely to your husband, my best friend? Like, woman, have you gone mad? So, good luck there, Summer. Let's see who's going to be in your corner, because I don't know. And at some point, she's speaking to Diane. Again, Summer, slippery Summer. She's all over the place. She's there speaking to Diane at the Abbott estate. I believe this was after Diane and Jack had already gone to the jazz lounge and had their little tete-a-tete with Ashley and Tucker. So she's back at home and, yeah, she's there. Diane sits back and was like, I've forgiven you, because Summer's trying to come clean and like tell her, I'm so sorry, what has occurred, and, let me give you the whole story. And she's like, yeah, don't worry about it. I done forgive you already. And then it kind of turned where Diane was just like, almost like basically bashing Phyllis. And Summer's like, whoop, whoop, whoop. You're not going to stand here and bash my mother. Like, not happening. And she's like, well, Summer, you're getting the wrong idea. Like, Summer's like, not gonna happen. She storms off. And it was like, okay. Now, do I give Diane wrong for bashing Phyllis? Let me think about this. Not particularly, because Phyllis did this to herself. She did. So I don't know. Again, we're going to get to the good stuff, because the meat and potatoes really had to do with Cameron, I'm feeling myself, Kirsten, and Nick, Faith, Sharon, Chance, he's like, watch me, I'm like, bossed up, Chance. He's like, yeah. So that was the real grit. And we will discuss a very touching moment. I mean, I have my tissue box ready in case I decide, like it might be too much for me, because it kind of hit home on a personal level. So there definitely was, I'm not going to say a feel-good moment. What I'm going to say is a moment. Like a tear-jerker moment. At least I believe so. Okay. We're going to get over, wait for it, Slimy Nate and Victoria. I mean, even my 7-year-old daughter's like, what's up with Slimy Nate? I'm like, I don't know. Okay, so Slimy Nate and Victoria, we're going to just try and gloss over them as quickly as possible. Ugh. They are up in the executive suite, albeit, and they're in, the stark white bathrobes, and lying in bed. And meanwhile, the two of them clearly had done their business and, maybe a couple times over. And, Victoria, she might as well just. It, okay, why has she not learned? Why? She might as well just give like all the coordinates to like every nook and cranny information about Newman, like just on a silver platter to Nathaniel. She's like, yeah, Nick is going to probably be on a leave of absence. And, I couldn't think of anyone better to, step in and take his place while he's on that than you, because you're exactly what the company needs. And he's like, well, you think so? I mean, I'm going to stand behind you 100%, whatever you need. So she's like, well, it's not official yet, but that's what my father, is kind of gunning for, this kind of thing. But I think, everything that's going on with him, with Cameron Kirsten and Sally, just might be too much for him. So I think that this would be best. Okay, did you cut a key to the kingdom, Victoria? Because you're pretty much giving him like ample ammunition. So much so that you'll see in a hot second what this guy does. Okay, so he's like, what do you want to do? And she's like, I'm kind of going stir crazy up in here. So, I don't know. I just don't want to stay in here. Oh, well, that's funny. So he's like, well, why don't we go downstairs and, maybe order some chamomile tea, or I swear he said chamomile. But anyway, don't they have like some coffee makers or tea makers? Like, you've got an executive suite. You can't make some tea up in that joint? I don't know. Weird. Or maybe we can go and have like a nightcap. Yeah, I'd like that. So, he goes down the stairs, stone cold dressed, back in a suit. And who's at the bar? Audra Charles once again has dipsy doodled from one bar to the next. And she is at the club having a drink. And sure enough, Nathaniel comes and joins her. Now remember, Victoria is not downstairs as yet, but you could have seen the signs, what was going to happen. Like, it was what it was. So he's there telling Audra like everything. Like, basically, our plan is in motion. Blah, blah, blah. And who walks in? Who walks downstairs? Oh, yeah, that's right. Victoria. To see him, I think he was either patting Audra on the arm or something, or maybe they were having a cheer with the glass. Like, I can't remember. Really doesn't matter how it was done. The point is, Victoria has seen this. Okay, Victoria, my question is, what are you going to do with what you saw? Are you going to turn a blind eye like you normally do and think, oh, well, maybe they were just having like, somewhat of a broski type moment? Or like, what are you going to do with this information? Are you going to confront him? Or are you just going to let bygones be bygones and go, ha, 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 and move along? If you are wise, you will nip this in the bud real quick and realize that he is only using you. but not that bright. I mean, at some point, Elena had come while they were having whatever at the club, and Elena's like, huh, interesting. And she just ripped them a new strip, especially Victoria. She ripped her something fierce. Go, Elena. Go. And she was like, she might as well have called her pathetic again. And she just said, you know what? He's just going to be like Ashlyn. And go figure, he was his best man. Interesting. And he's just going to use you until he gets what he wants. And you will be dispensable. Watch and see. Thankfully, I was bright enough to figure this all out beforehand. Doo-doo-doo. So she toddles off. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much Slaminate and Victoria. Be gone, people, be gone. Okay, so now let's get to the meat and potatoes. The good stuff. Can we get to the good part? Okay, let's see how we can get through this. Okay, so Sally is at her room, and Adam comes over with some, looks like fruits for the baby to eat. So Sally's like, I'm not hungry, da da da. He's like, it wasn't for you, it was for the baby, blah blah blah. And she's like losing her noodle because she's like, I can't think anything other than the fact that Nick is, dealing with Cameron Kirsten. And anyway, Sally, she needed to calm down because, again, she was at risk, as you know, for preeclampsia. And you don't want that thunder. You don't need no stress. And this is just my PSA. Like, if something is stressing you out, you need to woosah and take some breaths because it's not worth it. Again, that's my PSA. Take it for what it's worth. It is what it is. Let's get back. So, Sally is losing her noodle over Nicholas and whatever. So, Adam's like, oh, yeah, Nick is the type of, punch now, ask questions like way down the road type thing. So, basically calling him a hothead. It is what it is. And yeah, Nicholas actually is quite a bit of a hothead, but he's going to be like Victor and he's going to protect his family. Like, I think all of these guys, and once again, shout out to all the dads, the fathers, whatever. Happy Father's Day. Let me just say that. But they're gonna hold it down for their family. So Adam, Victor, Nicholas, they're all gonna do that. Kyle with little, what's that boy's name again? Oh, it escapes me. But his son, they're going to take care of their own. Oh, Harrison. So anyway, Adam is sitting there trying to console and calm Sally the Dickens down. Well, Nicholas calls in at some point in time, and Sally's like, what's going on? Like, I haven't seen you, I haven't heard from you, what's going on? Like, I'm worried, I'm concerned. And he's like, no, I'll get to you when I get to you, I do apologize, but, things, I'm just trying to work through some things here. And by the way, can you put Adam on the phone? Okay, let's backtrack just a trifle. Cameron Kirsten has taken Faith. Faith has been kidnapped. Okay? So Sharon had gotten upset at Chance, saying, you promised me that you would look after her and take care of her, and now this madman has my child. Nick had gotten out of jail or wherever he was, and he got out on bail only to come home, or come home to Sharon's, if you will, and find this information out, right? Okay, so that's your little backstory. Okay, so back to Sally and Adam. So Nick asks Sally to give Adam the phone. He wants to talk to him. So Nick's like, is this on speakerphone? No. And before you ask, I'm taking care of her and, making sure she gets, all her food and whatnot. And, she's relaxing and that kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, great. So anyway, I need you to like pretend like you're not, you're not hearing what I'm going to tell you, and just kind of play it cool. So he's like, basically, this madman has faith. So Adam, of course, he steps up into, uncle mode, like, like he wants to be like, where's he at? That kind of thing. Like you could tell, like it was really bothering him. Adam has his moments, but at the end of the day, I think he can be sensitive as well, right? Because he still has, his little Grinch heart comes out from time to time. So anyway, Adam's like, you're right. Okay, so yeah, you take care of that, and don't worry, I'll take care of Sally. It's fine. Whenever you can get here or be with her, no problem. But in the interim, I'm gonna take care of her. Okay. He's like, thanks, man. I'll keep you posted. That's the end of that conversation. So Sally had said, she basically, for the record, she doesn't like to be kept in the dark, and she was exhausted at this point. And Adam, stays with her, and she says, Adam, can you wake me up when Nick calls? No problem. Well, she ends up, who ends up calling? Someone calls, I think it was, was it Victor that called Adam? Or was it Nick? I feel like it was Victor. But anyway, someone calls Adam, and he basically takes the call. He's trying to be quiet. I think it was Victor. The old brain's not working like it used to be. Anyway, there was a conversation. Sally ends up waking up. Was that Nick? No. Anyway, she's starting to lose her mind once again. She's going stir crazy. She wants to leave. Adam's trying everything possible for her not to leave the place. So much so that he hides her shoes in the garbage can. So she's like, you can't keep me here. You can't keep me here. I'm leaving. He's like, Sally, you might want to put on some shoes. So there she is in her little white socks. So eventually, he gives her shoes. I didn't see what was the point of all that. That's whole little stalling technique, but it is what it is. So they end up leaving, and she says she's hungry. They end up at, I believe it was Society. Was it Society? I feel like it was Society. I don't think it was Crimson Lights. But anyway, they were getting ready to eat something, and then it was Society, because I remember the staff in the background. So she ends up catching something in her stomach where it was like a pain like no other, and Adam now has to take her to the hospital. Okay, before we get to the tearjerker moment, let's talk about Cameron, Nick, Faith, with a side plate of Victor. Okay, so we know that Cameron has kidnapped Faith. It's where did he stash her, and how did he know where she was? Well, there is Nicholas. Tell me something. Nicholas goes off, and just so you know, Chance was there at the time. Nicholas is going off because Sharon's like, how did he know? I was the only one that knew, like, because I booked the flight for Faith to go away. I did that. So obviously, Nick's like, bing, there must be a bug. He doesn't say this, but he starts searching around. Cameron, I know you can hear me. You bastard. Ah! Again, and on his chest, Nicholas is there to save the day. Why did Chance not figure this out? And there's Chance just at a desk, just kind of lifting 1-2 items, and Nicholas is like tearing down the joint, so much so that he finds the bug, which is behind a picture frame that's on the fireplace mantle. And it's like, here it is, that kind of thing. So Sharon's like, you want my attention? You bastard! You have it! Rah! Give me my child! Again, award goes out to Sharon for like tears galore. Niagara Fall tears. Again, she's running a close second. Like, it's neck and neck between her and Nikki, and Nikki still will take the cake. But Sharon her nose is almost passing Nikki. So she's been doing a good work. But anyway, so let's go to the fact that eventually Nicholas is like, I'm going to go find this guy and whatnot. And Chance is like, I'm going to put out APB. I put out APB for him. And a BPA or whatever the dick is. Like, whatever, acronyms he came up with. But APB. And, yeah. So they both leave. And who comes trotting down the stairs? But Cameron. I'm feeling myself. Kirsten. So now Sharon is, with him. Half a step back. Cameron, was saying, meet me at this whatever hotel room, which was the hotel room where she, supposedly killed him years ago, or thought she did. And she was prepared to go. And he was like, nope, you can't bring anybody, just yourself, whatnot. And anyway, Nicholas had told her, if you decide to do this, you need to go in with like some protection. So where did he find where did he come up with like a hunting knife? So he comes up with a hunting knife and duct tape from the kitchen. Like, what? Okay. And she's like a complete Angelina Jolie with her dress, and her leg was out. Like, okay. And he tapes this hunting knife right to her thigh. Does that feel comfortable? Yeah. Like, that's weird. But anyway, it's soapy land. It is what it is. So now she's already got this thing taped to her thigh. Nicholas and Chance have left. Cameron has come down the stairs, and he still looks all beat up from when he like totally Jim Carreyed himself, liar, busted his face by himself. So he's like, it's just you and me, Sharon, just the way it's supposed to be. So of course she's like, startled, but she's handling her business. She's handling it. Anyway, so there's this whole back and forth between the two of them. And, this goes on for a little while. And, it got to the point where he, like, gives her a kiss. And anyway, so she ends up saying, I'll do whatever you want. Just give me my child, blah, blah, blah. Just, she got nothing to do with this. Let my child go. And he's like, I don't know if I could trust you, but you know what? It should have been just you and me. I've got enough money. We can go wherever you want to go. You want a private island, whatever. This guy, he's not even a smooth talker except for when he's like, hey, Slick. Hey, Nicholas. But he's like, Nicholas has always been in the way. He's been the one that's been, in the way of our happiness and delusional. I mean, how many more times does this woman have to say, like, I don't want you, for you to get the fact that she don't want you? I don't know. He's living in some sort of la la land. But anyway, again, it was a back and forth between Sharon and Cameron, and that was what it was. So Cameron is much like, I needed a top hat because he's like a magician. He's able to like disappear at the drop of a dime. So this guy ends up at some point in time, shipping off. Not before Nicholas comes back and sees this dude, and they have it out. It's like fisticuffs going like at it. Boom, 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 boom. Like Nick's right hook. Bah. At one point, I thought this guy was gonna suplex, because I was a wrestling girl. I liked wrestling, so I thought he was gonna suplex Cameron, but they end up kind of like gingerly falling on the ground. And yeah, so anyway, Cameron gets a bookend and smashes it upside Nicholas's head, which, by the way, he didn't have any marks at that point in time. But cut to commercial and cut back in, there's a trickle of blood on Nicholas, like right about here. And, Sharon's like, Nicholas, Cameron, he got away. Where did he go? Where did he go? Up the stairs. Oh, okay. Staggering Nicholas goes up the stairs. Oh, he got away. Well, they end up figuring out that Cameron has been able to slip in and slip out of Sharon's place because he bore a hole in Noah's old room. How many bedrooms are upstairs? Okay. So he bore a hole in Noah's old room, and yeah. Okay. They end up finding out that this dude is in the sewer system for Victor's ranch. What set of weirdness is this? And they know this because Chance had brought over Cameron's bag, which he nicely left at the hotel room, and it was Sharon. I mean, Chance is useless. So Sharon's like, what's this? There's a false bottom. A false bottom in the bag. Here we go. Which led to schematics of the sewer system. So then they're like, he's right here. Oh boy. It was funny. So again, this is now where he is holding Faith, is in the sewer system. And okay, he's back there with Faith. Faith is bound and gagged, and basically it was, him talking about how Nicholas has been in the way and how Sharon and him belong together, and you name it. Again, there's this back and forth. Let's just really breeze through this. The fact that he ends up letting Faith, her little gag come out of her mouth, which she could have easily just spit it out, and she could have easily gotten her hands out of the rope, because it wasn't tight, and that rope was too thick, but whatever. So he offered her some water, but basically she spat on him and saying that my dad is, way better, way better a man than you ever will be, and, whatever. Okay, so Sharon comes, finds Faith, and sets her free, and basically tells her to, just telling her to kind of run. But she's not going anywhere. And here comes Nicholas, and on his chest, Cape Crusader, and he comes down as well. They're all in the sewer like a nice, happy family. And Cameron has what looks like, I think it was a screwdriver, towards Sharon's throat. And he tells Nicholas basically that he has to choose between Faith living or Sharon living. Like, choice is his. So he's like, I'm not, that's not even it's not even a valid question. Like, I'm not doing this with you, like, you idiot. And God, it was funny. Anyway, like, again, nothing's going to happen to anybody here except Cameron. So, yeah, he ends up, he spun Sharon around kind of thing, and Sharon ends up much like MacGyver, and she pulls the knife out off of her thigh. Maybe it was like a scene out of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I don't know. And she like grazes his skin, and he's like, ah. And he's got her both hands on like her arms, her upper arms. Okay. So her hands are down, her arms are down at her sides. Okay. Now riddle me this, because I was literally trying to reenact this scene with my husband to see, like, how was this even possible, because it just didn't make any sense to me. But again, Soapland, it is what it is. So her hands are down at her side. Cameron's got her, both hands like on either side of her upper arms, right? Tell me how she was able to, with both hands, mind you, take the knife and push back and plow it into his chest with his hands. Okay, first of all, he is how much bigger than her and should be, in theory, that much stronger than her. Now, I'm not saying that we don't have some strong women out there, but I'm just saying, like, okay. And if your arms are down at your side, how would you have the ability to go directly into his chest? Wouldn't you just scrape up from his stomach up or something? Like, that was weird, because you wouldn't have the ability to pull back like this, because he'd be able to stop you, throw you down. But no, not in Soapland. She was able to, directly into his chest, and he ends up, quoting a scene out of, I believe it was Romeo and Juliet. Correct me if I'm wrong, for all the, the history buffs, but, how much do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Before he's like, boop, 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 and he's on the ground, allegedly dead. And we know this because Chance, who is not a medical professional, has checked and says he's gone, no pulse, whatever. By the way, half a step back again, at one point, Nicholas had, told Faith to run off, and Cameron was like, no, I don't think so. Look under her shirt. Well, that's creepy. So she's got like a belt of bombs, that are Velcroed to her waist. And the detonator is there on the ground, which the detonator is consistently blinking. Okay, I didn't get it. So if if she was to run off, he was going to set the detonator off, and she was supposed to be blown to smithereens again. Was never going to happen. Again, this is so planned. Face a main character. Not going to happen, Cameron. Sorry. Nice try though. Anyway, so again, now Cameron's allegedly dead. Now it's, how are we going to get the bomb off her? Was this guy not smart enough to put it on like a timer? That's weird. So here we go. Chance, man. Chance. Bossed up Chance. He's got to now, deactivate what I think was like 5 or 6 separate, bombs, if you will. This guy's like, yeah, I did this back when I was in, service, and yeah, and then leave it to Sharon to go, okay, what if they're not all the same wires? I didn't even think about that. Right. Good one. Good call. So he's there snipping wires. Eventually he snips whatever pattern he comes up with. And, she's allegedly free. Again, why are they all having like, kumbaya moments in the sewer system? I don't know. I would have been out. And, they eventually leave. And Chance is left with Cameron. Like, I should just let you rot away with the rats in here. Okay, Chance. Just let you rot. Wouldn't it be something if this guy is like a cat with 9 lives and he ain't dead? And my question is, why was the detonator still blinking? If you had cut all the wires, wouldn't that stop blinking? Weird. Guess they didn't figure that one out or piece that one together, because I saw it. Anyway, lastly, we're gonna talk about the tearjerker moments. Okay. Again, this was a longer episode because there was so much that happened throughout the week, but again, it was blanket worthy, throw worthy. When I break out the purple blanket or the purple robe, something was going on. So Sally and Adam are at the hospital. Elena was there, bewildered looking, and they call upon her to take a look at Sally. Sally is writhing in pain, and eventually Elena, she's on top of things. Turns out, from what I gather, preeclampsia had stepped in. So at this point in time, Sally eventually, she conks out. She goes unconscious. And Adam is left with a decision. He has to decide basically to save Sally or the baby. Well, we eventually realize that he chooses to save Sally. So they go and put her in surgery and deliver the baby, and the baby doesn't make it. So, to be real, if you're someone like myself who has experienced the loss of a child, it kind of hits home. It definitely hits home. And whoever has experienced it and whichever way they've experienced it, something like this, even in Soapland, is going to, it more than likely will affect you. And it did for me. So, even though it's a character, I still felt compassion for Sally and the loss of, which I believe she was going to call the child Hope. It's a very gut-wrenching feeling. So she doesn't realize this. She wakes up and she doesn't realize what has fully happened. And eventually she's asking Adam questions. Again, Nick is still not there because he was dealing with Cameron and Sharon, and Sally is losing her noodle once again. And she's like, there's something going on. What are you not telling me? So eventually, Elena wants to talk to Sally alone. So Adam, leaves the room and calls Nick and was like, where, like, where are you, kind of thing. So Elena ends up telling her what happened. So Sally Spectra is about ready to jump off the bed and go and throttle Adam. But she doesn't do that, of course. Pan over to Adam. He eventually reaches Nick. And basically it's like, where have you been? I've left so many messages for you. And he's like, look, I was dealing with Cameron. He's dead now. And like, that was a conversation. Like, he's dead now, and like, he's not a problem. He's not an issue anymore. What have you. So he's like, you need to come to the hospital. I don't want to tell you over the phone. Like, you need to come to the hospital. Sharon overhears Nick on the phone. She could tell that there's cause for concern because he was like, hospital. And she's like, oh, must be about Sally. Go, Nick. She needs you. Victor was there at Sharon's house and, basically had told Nick, oh, by the way, your brother was trying to reach you. Something, I guess something about Sally, what have you. Okay, so Nick's like, I'll be there as soon as I can. Well, Adam goes back into, Sally's room, and he's trying to play off like, everything's cool, you know what, you're gonna be fine, whatnot. And you could tell Sally is just, she is livid. She looks like if she was to spit, pure thumbtacks and nails would be coming right out of her mouth. You could tell like there would have been steam coming out of her ears and the top of her head. And what she didn't say to Adam is up for another episode, because she just went off and was like, I lost my baby, like, because you made a decision? Ooh, child. Now, that was something fierce. So, yeah, Adam is not going to be in the good books once again. So I don't know what to tell you, but it was a whirlwind of a week. There was a lot of Cameron Kirsten. I'm assuming that might have been his final, taping, his final hurrah. But again, anything is possible. This guy, as I said, could have 9 lives, and he could just very well not be dead. As I said, there was some scene fillers. Daniel and Lily, the whole Connor story, like, didn't get it. Didn't need to be there. Boo-hoo-hoo, Connor, move on. It is what it is. And maybe this week we'll hold some more Phyllis stuff. Who's to say? But I could bet the farm that we're going to see more of Sally with the baby story. And I don't even want to know how Nick is going to react to this one. Oh boy. So there you have it, folks. Let's see how far in the week we can go without seeing Slamming Nate and Victoria. And hopefully, the writers would have, or the stylists at least would have heard my plea to give Diane something a little bit brighter. And yeah, let's see where this goes. Again, thanks for so much, guys, for watching. And if you liked what you saw, you liked, what you heard. It would be so kind of you to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss a single video that I post here on Y&R for Life. It has been a blast. Again, a whirlwind of a week. Don't make me pull out the purple blanket again. But if I have to, I will. And that or the purple robe, we'll see. But thanks so much, guys. It has been a complete pleasure. I really thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me and, seeing where this crazy ride takes us. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen this week. Again, this is all for the love of the show. You know how much I love Y&R. Again, Y&R for Life. My dream is to be on that show, but if that never happens, at least I could talk about it and just have fun. So you guys take care, and I will see you on the next video.